Hello everyone, in this video I'll be showcasing my No NFT Stack Box build. This is a complicated one, so bear with me. I'm going to do my best to explain this as organized as I can, and I'll also be talking about some important things you need to know with this design. And by the end of this, you'll probably make up your mind on whether or not you're going to do stack boxes or you're going to do something else. So this build is doing, at the moment, 1.7 stack box per hour. And it's hard to pinpoint the exact rate it can do, but just to give you an idea, this should be able to do at least 1.5 stack boxes per hour. And if you micromanage it very well, it should be able to do up to 2 stack box per hour. Yes, without NFTs, so that is pretty damn incredible if you can get it to 2 stack box per hour. But even at 1.5 stack box per hour, it is actually very good. I thought I was gonna get only 1 stack box per hour at first, but there you go. I rotated the build. I'm also going to show you the stats to the right. I do know that this build is going to take about 15 million cash to build, but you also want to have an additional 15 million cash to pay off wages, because the wages are going to be very high, and it's going to take you several hours before you get to the point where you can sell a stack of 10 stack boxes. But once you do get to that point, you'll get 25 million cash out of the 10 stack boxes, and that's more than enough cash to keep you going until you sell your next batch of 10. So as you can see, I've been just in the green on money, but yeah, the first batch of 10 was tricky. If you don't have enough money and you run out, you're basically screwed. It's very hard to recover from that point. Now, this build isn't perfect, so things are going to be produced in excess, and you're going to be selling that excess. Mostly it's going to be like sugar cane or clay lumps, but it could be anything. Like, this build is overproducing party boxes. It's producing 3.25 per hour. So I just sold a batch of 10 party boxes not too long ago, and that gave a good chunk of both cash, and it would give a good chunk of stars during the competition. So you're not just getting the stars from the, say, 1.7 stack box per hour. In this case, you're also getting the stars from all the other things that you sell. So it does add up to an even higher amount. And yeah, like I said, this is no NFTs. And I've been running this for about 8 hours now. So it's as stable of a rate as I can get, to be honest. Since everything is being, well, just about everything is going to be overproduced, you do want to put everything on auto sell. Not gas, you don't have to put gas as usual, but just about everything else needs to be on auto sell, even wood and lumber. I have those at an auto sell 40, just in case my lumber yards do get filled up and I need to clear some space, which that's never happened, but just in case. If you just so happen to not put something on auto sell, even if it's just one item, what's going to end up happening is your storehouses and warehouses are going to get jammed, or your silos, they're going to get jammed, and you're not going to be able to craft what you need to craft to get to stack boxes, and you're going to run out of money. So you want to be super careful with that. And when you finish your build, double check every hour for the next couple hours that you do have everything on auto sell. Very important. You don't want to get to this point and realize that you forgot to put something on auto sell, and that was your downfall. Okay, next, I'm pretty much just gonna start from the top and explain to you how this build works. There's gonna be 4 boxing facilities. One, of course, is making your stack box, which requires party box, fabric box, and supply box. The party box comes from another boxing facility that requires food parcel, gift parcel, and the wooden box. The food parcel and gift parcel come from the other 2 boxing facilities. The wooden box comes from the lumber mill, which is crafted using lumber, wood, and energy. Everything in this build has passive energy, as well as passive water drums from either the power plant or the water pumps. Just keep that in mind. Wooden box is used in multiple crafts, not just the party box, but also the fabric box and supply box. Lumber is also used in multiple crafts as well as wood. Now, the party box specifically, I'm going to talk about the gift parcel first. That requires a decorated cake, sangria, and pumpkin pie. Decorated cake comes from this little street right here with all these buildings. You need to make, from this one too. You need to make a decorated cake in the chocolate shop. And I have 2 chocolate shops in this setup. One's making the decorated cake, the other one's making the chocolate bar. That's a requirement for the decorated cake. The candy canes come from the candy shop right here. And the cake comes from this cakery right here, which requires batter. That comes from this cakery, which requires butter, which comes from this bakery. And yeah, I believe that's it for the decorated cake. The sangria comes from this wine setup over here. 2 wineries, one making Cabernet Sauvignon, the other one making sangria using the Cabernet Sauvignon. That wine does require the wine bottle and the oak barrel. So wine bottle, you craft that in the glass factory using 3 silica, 1 chromium, 1 limestone. Oak barrel is made at a lumber mill. Yeah, and it uses iron. So silica you get from your sand mine, which is picked up by the forklift. I'll talk more about that later. But the sand mine, it's on purpose. You want to slow it down, so don't put it near the desert edge or ocean edge. You only need a little bit of silica, and that's one of the things you're going to be auto selling a lot, just because it's easy to craft. So I put the sand mine right here, and that's the slowest craft timer it can go. And as for the other stuff, you need minerals, you need your iron, chromium, and limestone, and that comes from the mines. So I'm using shallow mines because they're slower. I don't actually recommend using iron mines despite having a mountain. You don't actually need that many minerals, so it makes no sense to use iron mines. Just use shallow mines. Do yourself a favor. You are going to end up auto selling chromium, limestone, and iron anyways. This will just reduce the amount you auto sell. And if you actually craft them faster, you're going to be using more lumber, and that may be a problem if you are trying to balance your wood and your lumber, because you need to have a average. You need to be producing both of them. There's multiple crafts that use them basically. Now, I do have the ponds here on purpose to slow them down, and the water pumps just because I don't want to deal with water drums on anything for this build. Same as energy. There's just 2 items that you want to cross out, not deal with at all. The more items you put into this, the harder the balance is. So yeah, even though they craft it slowly, I do get enough in this design. So that gives me all my minerals for that. Pumpkin pie, that comes from this cakery right here, making pumpkin pie. And I won't completely explain all these little items. I'll just show you in a moment. I'm sure you know how to make pumpkins and sugar. So next is the food parcel. We just talked about the gift parcel. Now the food parcel, honey comes from the beehive. Just one making honey. There's 2 beehives, and they are slowed down on purpose, just because I don't need that many materials for them. Honey is one of those things that you will definitely overproduce because it's easy to craft. Then jam, I have a bakery making jam over here. It has its water pump, and jam needs strawberries and sugar as well. Baguettes, this one can be kind of tricky. So this is the bakery crafting baguette, and that requires dough, which is crafted in this bakery right here. So in total, I have 4 bakeries, but I'm actually only using 3. Same thing with the cakeries, I have 3. But the bakeries, I do want to talk about them a bit. I have another bakery right here, but it's actually not being used. And for the last 8 hours that I tested this, nothing was like micromanaged, like I said. So this bakery is not necessary. I didn't use it. The only reason it's here is in case I want to stop making butter here and make it here. And that should make it so where the butter goes here, and it's easier to be picked up by the baguette baker and the cakery making batter. because since I have the bakery here making butter, the butter should, for the most part, go to this storehouse unless it's full, and then it's easier to be picked up by the bakery making dough. So it's just one of those things you can move around to balance better. Another thing that could be done is you move the storehouse. Like you see, it's facing the bakery making dough to make sure that one picks up butter. But you could also just have it face forward, and that would cause the butter to be picked up by the cakery first. Just one of those things you can move around to balance better. And yeah, you need 3 baguettes, but there's that. That's a food parcel, gift parcel, everything you need for the party box. Now I'll talk about the fabric box. There's 4 fabric plants, 1 making fabric box, 1 making uniforms, 1 making cotton yarn, and 1 making wool yarn. The fabric box, fabric plants requires a wooden box, 3 uniforms, and a wax. Now your uniform setup, you're probably familiar with it. It's right here. That's why you got these other 2 fabric plants. You also need wool and cotton. Wax comes from this other beehive right here. Like I mentioned, these are slowed down on purpose. And the beehives come with bees. Those bees will go for the nectar themselves. And you either want 1 or 2 clover fields. In this case, I have 2. I think it's a little faster if you do have 2. But yeah, the bees will go for those. You do need a beekeeper to take the lumber and the ceramic bowls to the actual beehive. So I have my beekeeper over here at the top. That one, just because it casts 1 shade. So yeah, that's the wax. Wax is used for fabric box, but it'll also be used for the supply boxes. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the fabric box. So talking about the supply boxes, that's made in this pottery shop. I have 5 pottery shops. 1 is making the supply box. The other 4 over here next to the water pumps are making ceramic bowls. So yeah, they do have their passive water drum. They got passive energy from the power plants. All they need is to pick up 2 clay lumps, which the forklift, I put him here on purpose to keep him busy. The forklift most of the time will be taking this path to go pick up a clay lump all the way over here, and then he has to come and take it back to the warehouse. And then the warehouses should basically have clay lumps on them almost all the time. That's one of the things you'll be auto selling a lot. But once your pottery shop is done crafting a ceramic bowl, it's just going to go to the warehouse to pick up clay lump and craft the next ceramic bowl. So I just did it this way so I wouldn't end up with too many clay lumps. But the forklift will also be picking up the silica from the sand mine, so it has 2 jobs. So that's the ceramic bowls, which are needed not only for the supply box, but for the honey and the wax. And then it's the wooden box to finish off the supply box. So that's all the 3 items needed for stack boxes. Now I'm just gonna go over all the other little things that you use up. I'll start off with like the windmills. So I have 6 windmills right here making salt, which requires brine, which I get from 4 salt fields. They have to be next to the ocean, that way you'll craft them at the fastest craft timer. Otherwise it'll just waste too many space. All the brine and cotton should be going here in this silo. I have 2 silos, and the other silo will take all the other ingredients. So for windmills making flour, I have a total of 9 of them. As so, 9 windmills crafting flour. And I should have 11 windmills making sugar. Yep, 11 making sugar. So that's all the windmills. Livestock right here. Well, I have 2 ATVs working with the livestock. 3 milk barns for the milk. 1 chicken coop for the eggs, and 1 sheep pen for the wool. Sheep pen is in this specific spot because I have 2 shade here, and also because it needs 5 water, and I don't have enough for 5 water over here. Cotton field right here, the tractor should pick it up and take it to this silo because it's closer to the fabric plant making cotton yarn. That's why I have it set up this way. the pumpkin patch right here. It's for your pumpkins for the pumpkin pie. These two things are slowed down on purpose. Oak wood, just because I don't need that many oak barrels, and cocoa once again because I don't need that much chocolate. Although it would probably be a good idea to craft a little bit more chocolate. That way you would end up with a little more decorated cakes possibly, but I don't think it's required. I have 2 Cabernet vines. You actually only need 1, but if you do 2 of them, you'll overproduce sangria, and then eventually you'll sell that sangria, so it's not bad. These things are not affected by shade. That would be peppermint field and strawberry field, and that's why they're there. This is a clay field. There's 3 wheat fields, and then there's 5 sugarcane fields. The rest of it is trees, so there's 15 trees. Although one has a yellow timer, but this gives me more than enough wood. So I have 2 lumber yards. This one's always filled with wood. You do need to have wood because you need it to grow your grapes, and I believe your peppermint and strawberries as well, possibly the pumpkin as well, I'm not too sure, but you do need wood. And then the other lumber yard right here, most of the time it should have lumber. Which lumber is required for the wooden box, the cotton yarn, the wool yarn, and the honey and wax for the beehive. So you do need to have a lot of lumber. This design actually overproduces wood and lumber, so I don't really have to worry about running out of those, which I think it's a good thing. Talk about the storages here. Got 3 storehouses, and for warehouses, you do craft like more warehouse items than storehouse items. So it's a good idea to have more than enough storage so you don't accidentally jam your build. And industrial setup is over here. So 2 power plants, 2 refineries. The refinery between the power plants is crafting gasoline, of course, with the water pumps it needs. Fuel storage is across the one crafting gasoline. The other refinery over here is crafting petroleum. It has passive crude oil from the oil seep we start off with. So you can easily craft all the gasoline that you need with this. And this power plant is in an area where you can craft energy easily if you need it to build out the rest of the buildings. Now, I believe, hopefully I've explained just about everything. I know there's a lot to explain. Yes, there's 5 tractors and there is 6 loggers. 5 tractors is just enough, and the 6 loggers seems to be more than enough. But yeah, the pantry to store the honey and the jam in, that's required. And some more power plants over here just to fulfill the energy requirements. But I believe that's just about everything explained. One thing you may want to consider is when you have the 4 pottery shops making ceramic bowls, if you're having an issue getting enough ceramic bowls for like wax and honey at the same time, you may want to like stop crafting ceramic bowls and start them all up at the same time. That way they can get the ceramic bowls all out at once, and it should help you produce both wax, honey, and get the ceramic bowls that you need for the supply box. This might not be necessary, but it's something that may be a problem. That's why I want to address it. And there's just other things that you can move around to balance better. If you notice that you're like making too much of a gift parcel, you may want to turn off production temporarily for something so you can focus on food parcels. That way you can get more stack boxes per hour, maybe closer to 2 stack boxes per hour. So yeah, that's what I mean by micromanaging. Every couple hours you may just want to change the production up around, but that is a lot of work, that is a lot of effort. I've been running this 8.5 hours now without any micromanaging, and it's doing 1.6 now. So yeah, it's somewhere around 1.5 1.7 per hour, but it's a great rate. I do believe that if you do a stack box build, you are going to be competitive enough to make it really high in the ranks, possibly top 500 to be honest, even with no NFTs. Just because I don't think there's many people that are going to be doing stack boxes, although I could be wrong. That's my speculation. Now, yes, this is a lot of work, and now you may be discouraged to even do this build. there are other options you could do. You could do decorated cakes or bicycles for this upcoming competition, and it should be enough for you to get top 1200 in my opinion. But you do want to do some higher tier items. If you just settle for cakes or blue steel, I don't think it'll be enough for top 1200, at least not without any NFTs to help you out. So yeah, you may want to do decorated cakes, or decorated cakes is a very good option. And if you need help doing that, I do have a No NFT build showcase for decorated cakes that you can check out. That should help you out a lot. If this stack box isn't your thing, then there you go. But this video is already long, so hey, if you watched this whole thing, shout out to you, you're amazing. Hopefully this was able to help you out or give you an idea or something. If you found this helpful and enjoyable, feel free to leave a like on the video. Leave a comment, let me know, are you actually planning on doing stack boxes, or did you decide to do something else? Yeah, consider subscribing if you haven't done so already. I appreciate your support, and thanks for watching.